Everybody, this is Greg from London Bridge Bricks.
And I'm Thomas from TEK Productions.
And this is London Tech. Okay, so this is part 2 of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Now, you've watched us actually build the sets, but now we've got the head-to-head. We get to see what set we actually think stands out the best, which one is the better of the two. And you know what? You might be surprised by what we think is the better set of the two. Of course, the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. So, Thomas, then, where should we start first?
I think we'll start at the beginning, shall we? Build experience. Greg, what did you think of the build experience of the X-Wing?
Well, I got to be honest, I actually quite liked it. I built a couple of them. We've got one just over my shoulder here. And, you know, quite often I was kind of expecting the build experience to be quite similar. Now, that particular one, the black one, came out in like 2015. And I don't know, maybe it's because I only built it a couple of years ago. I've kind of forgotten kind of what I did or anything like that. But with the X-Wings, especially the last 3 that have come out, or at least the kind of the Poe Dameron ones, because Poe Dameron's got more X-Wings than Luke Skywalker ever had. And
so true.
Well, it is though, isn't it? I mean, there was one that came out in 2015, and he got one in 2016, the grey and blue one that came out as well. So I'd be interested to know in the comments below if anyone's actually collected all 3 of these ones. But of course, this one being the orange one, you know, it's got a hint of EasyJet about it, which is, you know, it's fine. And I've got to be honest, I actually didn't think I was even going to like the colour that much. But you know what? It actually works all right. It's not too bad. But yeah, the actual build experience. Well, I built it with you for a start, Thomas. I built it on our live stream, which, by the way, folks, if you want to watch it back, you can either watch it down in the description below, or of course, check the card above. But I actually thought it was all right. Actually, it was a good experience. You know what really helps with the build for me personally is that I'm quite an admirer of the X-Wing itself. Anyway, I just love the shape of it. It's a beautiful bit of Star Wars tech, and I really like it. You know, you've got the way the blasters are designed and everything like that. So all in, for me, it was actually a pretty good building experience. I enjoyed the whole thing. The instructions were pretty clear. I like the way they go together. You've got the cleverness with the mechanisms that open it up and stuff like that. So it's not like it's static or anything like that. It looks good when the wings are in their closed position, but when they're in their attacking kind of X-Wing position, it looks great. And you know what? Once you've kind of sat back and you admire what you've built, you kind of think, yeah, I built that and I like that. And because of that, I'm probably out of a score of 5, I'm going to give it a nice, healthy, force-powered number 4. I think I'm going to give it.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, mate? What did you think of your build experience of your TIE Dagger?
So I have to say, it's a fairly basic build. It was enjoyable actually. Like I said, we're on a live stream, so we're always going to have fun doing that. So you try not to let that influence too much. But yeah, for the most part, it's a fairly basic build, just plates and bricks and stuff. No, it's not Technic heavy at all. What was really nice about it was some of the new pieces that come in it. They actually designed, I think it's a 3x2 angle piece, so that really works in helping it get the shape of the TIE Dagger, which I really appreciated. That's really nice. But yeah, it's not really a very challenging build. You've obviously got the wings that kind of mirror each other, so it was okay. It was okay. Nothing as iconic. You're not building something as iconic as the X-Wing, and you're seeing it all come together and got that kind of excitement for it. So that's why I gave it a kind of middle of the road 3.
Yeah, I think with the TIE Dagger, I think what they've done is they've taken something that's kind of been it's a good formula for a design of a ship. Yeah, and to a certain degree, when you think about it, the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, if you put a line down the middle of them, well, they're quite symmetrical kind of shapes, aren't they? Yeah. But I think the clever thing with the TIE Dagger is that they've kind of taken, instead of it being like more of a squarish kind of wings on it, or solar panels, whatever they are, if you know exactly what they're called, let us know in the comments below. But if you take that concept and they've kind of made it, you know, people joke, they call it Doritos, don't they? And I think that's a fair comment, but also as well, they have tried to do something different. And also as well, I think the difference between building an X-Wing as opposed to, you know, a Sith dagger, a TIE dagger, whatever you want to call it, folks. The problem is, it was only in probably about 20 minutes of the movie, wasn't it? So
exactly. Yeah.
There isn't that fondness necessarily as much for it. Now, if we'd seen it 20 years ago, we might have thought, oh yeah, we've got ourselves a TIE dagger. That's exciting. That's cool. But of course, it even, you know, I don't know, it just wasn't about as much. So our Star Wars hearts aren't quite as much into it.
That's a really fair summary. One other thing as well, I don't know about on your set, but I had no stickers as well, which was probably why it was given a 3 maybe instead of a 2. You've got the 2 printed pieces on the cockpit and on the top there, which was a nice touch. It's nice to get those dish pieces without. Yeah,
I like that about my mind. My mind just had a couple of stickers on it. You know, it's a tiny little sticker sheet. In fact, I wouldn't even call it a sticker sheet. It's just 2 stickers, really, folks. It really was, and that I did like. That for me is a plus side. I mean, we've got people in the community, folks. They absolutely, you know, they've got a love, they've got a fondness for stickers. But between you and me, I can't stand the things. I really can't. I've got quite a slow process the way I put them on, and it looks pretty good. But it's part of the process of the building process that I never enjoy. But anyway, something I do enjoy is minifigures. Thomas, what did you think of your minifigure collection?
Okay, so I got the 3 figures. I got Finn. I got the First Order TIE Pilot, which is kind of contentious anyway because this isn't a TIE. This isn't a First Order ship. And we've also got Trudgeon. I'll just double check the name there. Trudgeon, which is the Knights of Ren. So starting off with Finn, he's not exclusive. He did come with the playset Falcon that come with episode 9 as well, so nothing really exciting about him. Pretty cool figure for the most part, pretty cool Finn figure, but fairly standard. So nothing, you're not going to go out, you'd rather have the Falcon, you'd rather go out, spend the money on the Falcon if you wanted this Finn figure because you get another good section. Again, the First Order TIE Pilot is a really cool figure, don't get me wrong. The printing on it's really nice. The new helmet mold, you get the tube going down into his torso that works really, really well. Don't get me wrong, amazing figure. It did come with the First Order TIE Pilot microfighter, should I say. But yeah, it's a Sith trooper. It needed a Sith trooper pilot, not a First Order pilot. So that's a bit of a letdown. And to be honest, Trudgeon, probably my least favorite of the Knights of Ren as well. So I really don't think this is done too well on the minifigure front. Don't get me wrong, all pretty good, but nothing that you're screaming about. Nothing that you if you're going to buy this set on the minifigures, it's going to be for Trudgeon. But at the end of the day, I think he's the least exciting one, at least to me. I'd be interested to see what you guys think. But yeah. Got a 2 for minifigs for me, and that's a real shame. Really low. That's super nice.
Oh, that is mega low. Well, I had the opposite experience, to be honest. I love my minifigures. In fact, this is one set that I would actually go out my way to buy the set for, to get the minifigures. But I think to a certain degree, that's kind of reflected in the price. But we will talk about that in a mo, folks. We really will. Anyway, the standout figure for me, actually, I thought was going to be the Knight of Ren. And then the Knight of Ren that comes with this one is VICRAL, of all things. And he's got this fantastic mesh mask. It looks absolutely fantastic. And I genuinely think Lego did a brilliant job of it. And it's got this lovely shimmering effect as well when it comes to actually looking at the prints and that on his kind of torso and his legs and stuff like that. Yeah, Lego, you knocked it out of the park. But there was a better one in there. JANNA. I think JANNA is fantastic. There, a lot of people thought she was going to be like Lando Calrissian's daughter or something like that, but she wasn't. She was kind of her own person, which was, absolutely fine and dandy. But she's got so many elements about her that make her brilliant. One, she's got this kind of bow and arrow kind of kit going on, which is kind of cool. Very young Star Wars. I mean, you've got you've got laser swords and you've got blasters as well. So I'm not quite sure. She was no Hawkeye from what I remember. Put it that way. And also as well, she's got this fantastic hairpiece. I mean, it's a brilliant looking afro. It's fantastic, and she's got the blaster shield in it, completely exclusive to this set, and of course this minifigure is as well. But the best bit about the whole minifigure thing is that she's got sidearm printing. And that is so rare, Thomas, to get sidearm printing in a pretty kind of averagey, standardy kind of set. You might get them in the collectible minifigures, sure, or you might get them in the UCS set if you're lucky enough to get them. but you don't normally get them in an X-Wing kind of set, you know, and that for me is the big reason why I kind of scored this one quite highly. Now, you've got a couple of ordinary figures as well. And I say that ordinary figures, the most ordinary figure was the Astro Droid R2-D2. He came with it. And you know what? My particular version had quite a straight bit of printing along the headpiece, which I was quite pleased about. But also Poe Dameron. I love a bit of Poe Dameron. I really do. I always felt, when he wasn't in it anyway, Poe Dameron was a bit of the Han Solo of the last three movies, and I liked his presence in it. And he was a pretty cool pilot. And I've never seen anyone do a handbrake turn before in an X-Wing, but Poe Dameron, that's for sure, and he did it pretty well too.
Definitely.
But his helmet looks fantastic in it, and his jumpsuit looks brilliant. And you know what? He's just a very cool character. He's a cool minifigure. But he was just a little bit outclassed by JANNA and VICRAL. So that's why, for me personally, I actually scored the minifigures a big fat 5. And that's about as good as he gets, folks. And I tell you what, I probably won't be scoring them like that again in the near future. And I tell you what, just while I'm here thinking about that as well, folks, if you want to do us a score as well, why not consider giving the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, of course. And if you happen to be new around here, why not hit that subscribe button? Become a big part of the LBB family. And if you want to find details for TEK Productions, of course, you'll find them down in the description below. So moving on then swiftly, where should we go to next? I think we'll give ourselves the build quality. Now, this one was a bit of a surprise. And I'll let you know why in just a check. Anyway, TEK, what do you reckon then? What was the build quality like?
So I think the build quality is where this set really, really excels. It's sturdy. I don't think too many parts are flying off this if you're going to do a drop test of it. The way the wings attach is really, really sturdy. You've got 2 of the cranked pieces, the cranked hinge pieces on either side, like integrated really deep in the wing. So you can swoosh it about. It's really, really sturdy in that sense. There's no really small parts that are going to kind of fall off. We've kind of said here about talking about sort of build quality in the sense of play and display. So for that reason, you're flying it around, nothing's flying off. You've got the playability features of the the spring-loaded shooters, shall I say, which are really good. But on the flip side of that, for display, they're really well hidden. And it comes with a stand as well, so it's ready to be displayed. The sharp edges on it look really good as well. And yeah, this got a 5 for me for build quality. It's as sturdy as you're going to get with a Star Wars ship, I think.
It really is. I mean, when you hold it in your hands, it actually feels like you're holding like a tool or a weapon or something like that. You can almost like literally dagger someone with it because it's so pointy and. But it's quite heavy as well. And from what I remember, am I right in saying that between the sandwiches, because there's kind of like 2 sets of wings, aren't there? Yep. On one panel, you've got like a bunch of solid 2x4 grey bricks. I think they were, wasn't they? That's
it. You've got 3 plates. I'm just looking at it now. You've got 3 plates all stacked together. Then you've got a row of bricks, and then you've got another layer of 2 plates. So it's not going anywhere. It's a really rigid build, all achieved without any Technic parts, which I'm always a fan of. So good for me.
Technics is due, folks. Believe me. And we had a whole bunch of people that were in the chat on the stream, and they were saying, "Oh, you guys should do comparisons of this and that." And a few people, Ollie, for example, saying, you guys should do some Technic sets. And we're like, we'll do the cheap ones that are under a tenner. That's about it. We watch streamers doing Technic sets all the time, and I really don't think they really enjoy it. But anyway, they'll maybe think otherwise. But now for me, the build quality is actually good for what it is. But you see, the nature of an X-Wing is it's going to be a bit flimsy. Now, the wings, of course, when they're in the closed position, it's quite strong and sturdy and stuff like that. But of course, when you open it up, you've got the 2 plates. You've got 2 sets of plates that kind of strengthen it. So one strengthens the other. You've got one that gives you the shape, the other one that gives you the strength, and then you've got the 1 or 2 other ones that kind of help with the shaping and the colouring and the accents and all that kind of stuff. But they're kind of flimsy. But that's not Lego's fault, folks. That's just the design of an X-Wing. They just are. But what you have got is you've got a solid fuselage. I mean, and that's proper strong. That is, and like you were saying, you know, it's all very swooshable and stuff like that. It's all very playable. So you know, parts aren't going to go flying. You've got the stud shooters on there. They work quite nicely. They're really well integrated into it. I've got to say the kind of the missiles that come with it, they're okay. They kind of stick out at the back of it. But it kind of looks okay. It's all right, but it is a little bit more flimsy. But what I will say as well, you've got plenty of slopes around it that kind of help with the strengthening process, but also kind of keeping it a little bit slicker as well. So for displayability, it's pretty good. For playability, it's pretty good. So because I kind of feel it's a bit like, yeah, it's okay, that for me scores a fairly down the middle of the row 3. So, you know, which I think is okay for what it is, really. Let's face it, folks, we've had all sorts of X-Wings recently, and for what it was, yeah, it looks pretty good. But keeping with that kind of lookness, we kind of thought, well, why don't we sort of compare it a little bit to the actual source material as well? So in terms of TIE daggers, TIE Sith fighters, whatever you want to call it, Thomas, what did you think your one? Did you think the Lego representation of it was pretty good?
I think the likeness is pretty good for this set. Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, they integrated some of those new pieces that they made for this, which really helped to achieve the shape really well. I think they've nailed the triangles, the wings down really well. The red trim looks really nice, although is probably not as apparent on the actual ship as Lego may have made it. And there's also a grey trim as well that goes round that's not really been included, but kind of small details really. And the only other thing really, I think, is the cockpit could have been a bit better. I don't know if they've brought some of the plates forward to kind of cantilever to sit on the stand, but it's not as spherical as a traditional TIE fighter, and definitely not as good as maybe it could have been. But for the most part, I mean, you definitely look at it and you can tell what it is, and that's why I gave it a 4.
Yeah, well, 4, blimey, that's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to be honest with you. I think it definitely justifies that. Now, I've actually already scored. I've scored mine a 4. And let me explain why I've done that, folks, because everything is there. When you look at it, the wings expand out into attack mode, and yeah, it's an X-Wing, you know. But what I will say is, a bit like what Thomas said, a lot of the finer details are there. The kind of the small, tiny blue accents that are on the kind of lower sections of the X-Wing. I like that. I thought that was a nice touch. Under the canopy of the source, you've got like this kind of this orange line, this almost diagonal line that goes in. And I thought that Lego's representation of it was actually pretty good. Instead of it actually just being painted, they actually built it out with kind of long curved bricks. I thought that was a pretty good touch. They've almost gone above and beyond there. But the small thing, it's not a small thing really, because it's actually quite big things. Now, the main things on the X-Wings, you've got the great big round inlets, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On this one, they needed to be orange, but Lego did it in grey, which it's a bit of a shame, really. So for that reason, I kind of scored it down a little bit. I mean, it's a great ship. I mean, my God, this is the ship that led the attack against some ginormous armada in the Rise of Skywalker, folks. I mean, it was like every man for himself and attack and gun ho and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like the fact that they got some of the minor details all in there, but one of the big details that they needed to get was orange inlets. But you know what? I guess it's just one of those elements that Lego doesn't actually make it orange. Otherwise, and that's why I kind of gave it a good, healthy kind of 4 as well. So anyway, talking about healthy, if there's one thing about being a Lego YouTuber like us, or even just anybody who loves Lego, the hobby itself, is we're always looking for value for money, and our wallets, generally speaking, aren't that healthy, truth be known, folks. So I think this is going to be an interesting one. We always want good value for money, but we're basing these comparisons, these head-to-heads, on what the true price is of it, the retail price, not necessarily what we paid for them. That said, though, I think we can disclose that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
people definitely interested to know. So anyway, so value for money then, the TIE Dagger. Where did you get with that one then, Thomas?
It's so easy to buy or to look at a Lego set and go, that could be £10 cheaper, and I really enjoy that because we know that they eventually go on sale or you can get a discount here and there. But like you said, we're going to initially compare their recommended retail value. This one was $64.99 in the UK, which I don't think is awful, to be honest. I think if the minifigs were a little bit better, maybe the correct pilot or someone a bit more exclusive, one of the other figures to be exclusive. You had JANNA that was exclusive as well. A side character that would have been exclusive would have been a nice touch. Probably would have made that £65 a little bit better. But I was also having a look at some of the other Star Wars sets that are £65 at the moment, and you've got like Dio, and you've also got the Knights of Ren transport ship. And I would probably say Dio was below, then the Sith TIE Fighter, and then Knights of Ren Transport in sort of reverse order of which I'd be preferable to. So it kind of falls in the middle there. I think as well, but then you kind of look at other sets that aren't in Star Wars. You've got the ISS and Central Perk that are also £65. Maybe I would prefer this. Then you're going to look at like non-licensed stuff like the story of Nyan, which is £60, so £5 cheaper than this. I'd probably take that in preference to this. So yeah, it was pretty good. Like I said, it's well easy to say like, oh, just knock a tenner off and I'd enjoy it. I think I actually did an order from Russia to get a few other sets, and this was listed for about £45, I think, which I thought was a pretty fair, pretty good price for it.
That is
so I definitely picked it up, but I thought it was okay. Value for money, I've said 3.
Okay, 3. I think that's quite good actually for the TIE Dagger. In all honesty,
I think if the figures had been a little bit better, it would have got a 4.
Yeah, I think that figure called Trudgeon really was. That's kind of the devil's in the detail there. There's a hint of what's to come. So your one was quite expensive for what it was, because it's always about the piece count, folks. It really isn't. I mean, my X-Wing comes with 761 parts, which you think, wow, that's quite good. That's a healthy piece count. But the price for it is very unhealthy indeed. I mean, it was 90 quid, £90 for an X-Wing. The last one I bought was miles cheaper than that at retail. For sure, and it was also quite annoyingly $90 as well. Which normally speaking, when something's $90, that normally means it's going to be about £75-80, which is, you know, in reality terms, is much more kind of appetizing. Do you know what I mean? It's more palatable for that. So for me personally, when I actually bought my one, I actually paid it £70. I haven't really seen it go much lower than that. That said, go back a couple of years ago, I paid £45 for the black and orange version of it. The piece per parts count isn't actually too much difference, but even at 90 quid at 761 parts, I mean, that pretty much works out to 12p a brick, which is quite expensive. But it's not always about that. Some of it you've got to take into account, folks, the feeling of it as well. And it is. Do you know what? I kind of think Lego are good at doing X-Wings, right? They do all sorts of them. The latest one that's just come out in 2021 is a radical redesign of it, which is kind of exciting. Maybe one day we'll do another X-Wing TIE Fighter compare, folks, because it's not just down to Star Wars. It really isn't. We're kind of becoming all sorts of different themes, and maybe mechs and an ATST variety, all sorts of things. So do watch out for that, folks. It was all coming up. So I gave mine a value, and then bearing in mind it came with some stonkingly good figures, I was going to give it a score of 2, but because it came with such good figures, I gave it a 3, which I thought was quite nice of me, to be honest. We don't do halves, folks. We're not doing like 2.5 or anything like that. It's nice and round. It's much easier to add up.
Definitely.
Now, talking of adding up then, so what did your score come out at with the TIE Dagger?
TIE Dagger for me come out at 17 out of a possible 25.
17 out of 25. Now let us know in the comments below what you possibly would have scored it on those those 5 different areas that we're scoring on. Now, me personally, I scored mine at 19. It was kind of, and that's quite a strong 19 actually. I was thinking 20 initially, but that was quite a weak 20. So I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to drop it down to about 19. And some of that comes in. There's a few different factors in that, of course, which we've just explained to you. But for me personally, I think if they had just dropped the price down a little bit more, right, you would have said, you know, I would have been a little bit happier with it all round. But I think, you know what, 19 out of 25, that's a pretty good score actually, all in.
Yeah,
I think that was a good score for you. So, of course, folks, it's not necessarily about what me and Thomas think. Exactly. It's about what you think as well. So let us know in the comments below what you think about our scores, and maybe you might think, guys, you should maybe score on something else as well. This is quite a new thing for us, folks, and it's something that we're gonna, you know, maybe when we're 3 or 4 kind of head-to-heads and versus into this new thing for us, London Tech, you might think, you know, we could add some more stuff in. So please, like always, folks, add your comments in below. We will be watching, we will be reading, and we will be listening to what you boys and girls out there have to say about London Tech. Thank you as always for tuning in. If you enjoyed this edition of London Tech, please do give the video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what you thought about our scores. Anyway, for now, I'm going to leave you with some videos that I think you might like.